I'd like to call the meeting to order. Will everyone please either turn off your cell phones or at least put them on silent so that there's no interruptions, and then stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Paul.
Here.
Vice Mayor Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman.
Here.
Councilmember Hatton.
Here.
Councilmember Starkey.
Here.
Mr. Lemack.
Here.
Mr. Lewis. Here. Mr. Holste. Here. Mr. Weinthal.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. We, as we usually do, I know it's the last Wednesday of the month, but it's the last Wednesday of the month, rather. But it's the first Wednesday that we're having a meeting in July, so we do have open speak tonight. Public comments, the first 30 minutes of the council meeting is reserved for public comments, and comments will not be, speakers will not be limited to the number of topics. However, you may not talk about anything that's on the public hearing agenda. When that comes up under public hearings, you can come up and speak at that time. You'll be limited to 3 minutes to address the town council, so that knowing that we have a large number of people here to speak today, I will hold you to that 3 minutes, so please contain your remarks. I appreciate it. Those are interested in speaking tonight, as long as you've filled out a form. If you've not filled out a form, you must do that before you speak. Anybody in the second row that would like to speak? First row, did you want to speak? Yes, I'm sorry. Come on up. State your name and address, please.
My name is Mark Earhart at 6550 Southwest 46th Street in Davie. On 46th Street, I had occupied the old house that's actually from Dade County Plat book. I'm here because Michelle said, "Come here," and I say, "Yes, yes, dear." As we have a good relationship. She's the old Davie gal who takes care of this, and she's the only one who's taken care of things. I complained to her several times about the lack of policing on the drugs that were going on for years to my neighbor to the west and at the Davie Hotel. She's the one who got the police interested, and that was that. Now, on the later Mon category comes to the park. When are they going to do anything more than what they did a month ago? Then also later Mon goes to the Historical Commission that only meets 4 times a year. I'll be dead and buried before that ever gets approved. And the last part goes, forget about it. Forget about it if you call the non-emergency police number. They don't call you back. I called on the Sunday after the meeting just to leave a message. I called again on Monday morning to leave a message. And on Monday evening, I called and left a message for the police chief. I have yet to return a call from anyone. So you might as well disconnect that number and save the town money. I am concerned about, and she can agree, about the lack of proper response. Michelle almost blew out trying to get fire rescue there. I've called for the police twice. The first time they just ignored and didn't show it up when my burglar alarm went off. And the second time, it took 3 phone calls from me and 2 phone calls from a neighbor to get the police to respond for a screaming, drugged out man that was actually getting his drugs from one of the first drug house raids next door to me. So I'm concerned about what happens when I need to push this button. I know they respond, but how long is it going to be for the town of Davie to respond? That's the question, and that's the most serious issue I have. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Boy, Yeah, that 3 minutes down. Who's second row?
Good afternoon. My name is Remy Sampson. I live at 140 10 Southwest 21st Street, Davie. I've been a resident here for 26 years. My first home, I lived there. My second home now for 10 years. And the property right behind me is a property that's been extremely disturbing. Apparently, Marshall Tree Service works out of that property. They bring in tree debris and cut it up and bring in a lot of trucks and make a lot of noise. And it's extremely disturbing. I can't even go in my pool. The birds stop singing. I've attended for 5 years dealing with this, 5 years. And many complaints, 2 magistrate hearings that I've attended where he was fined. And a lot of these trucks were taken off the property. They don't park there anymore. There's been some headway, but there still is a lot of noise. Trucks, big trucks still come on the property. This is a residential property. And I don't know what to do anymore. I mean, that's a fact. I don't. This is an acre property. I bought this home. This is my retirement home. And I got to deal with trucks in a residential area. These are acre properties. Everybody has a nice home and a pool, but on this lot, this guy is bringing these trucks in and making a racket. And the fumes from the chemicals. And I'm not getting any help. You know, I know a lot of you people know what I'm talking about because I've complained. And my neighbors have complained. But I don't know what to do anymore, so that's why I'm here. And I'm upset, and I'm tired of this. 5 years. And now I'm thinking about moving. I don't want to move. I love Davie. I love Florida. And I need help. And that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Just go right down the row. Come on.
I'm not going to repeat. Michael Davenport, 14041 Southwest 22nd Place.
And your address, please, sir.
14041 Southwest 22nd Place. I'm not going to repeat what my neighbor said or what other neighbors may say. I just want to introduce into record and give you copies of a couple of documents.
Have somebody give them to you because you're going to take, that's taking time off of your 3 minutes.
Two minutes, 12. I want you first to get those exhibits so you can see what I'm talking about. You will not understand what I'm talking about until you get that. Look at the first exhibit, A. It is a final order by the special magistrate that is now 3 years old and have not been enforced yet. I highlighted some important parts of it. You can just go through it yourself. Page 3 is very important. It particularly identifies the areas where the violation occurred. 15.3, 15.7, 15.9. On page 2, you can read them, what they are. Page 4 is the most important one. The special magistrate order that the town of Davie directs the town of Davie and code enforcement to, from time to time, to ensure compliance and promptly report the findings to the magistrate. This has never been done. Let's go to the second one, which is Exhibit B. Exhibit B is the heart of the problem. That is a document from the survey. that was submitted to the town of Davie for the purpose of building a road on the property. That road that I highlighted in yellow, you can see that, is all dotted around it. That's the way it was submitted. That is the length of a driveway of any house, normal, ordinary driveway. Okay, now go to the next one, Exhibit C. That was not built that way, the way it was submitted. They immediately went to the left, way to the left, right next to my house, about 25 feet or so from my bedroom and living room, and then went up 305 feet into the end of the property where my other neighbors are. So whenever anything happens on this road that you see. That's what the road is the problem.
Okay.
That road should never be there because they never asked for it, but they built it.
Your time is up, sir.
Yeah, I understand.
Someone else can continue where you've left off if you
I,
want. Had you signed up? What is your name? Would you make that, please? Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, set the time.
Okay, thank you. That road is the heart of the problem. I need you to look at that. That is not something to be permitted, was not allowed to be permitted, was not permitted, should not be permitted. That is the heart of the problem. As long as that road is there, we are going to have a problem. Now, I can say with 100% certainty, 100% certainty, if this operation was next to your house, it would not have lasted 5 hours, let alone 5 days or 5 weeks or 5 months. We've been dealing with it for 5 years. Now, I want to, at this point, thank Mr. Stallone, because in retrospect, we realized that he actually tried to help us. He was limited by the forces above, but he tried very hard. He scheduled a second hearing before the magistrate in April of 2021. It was blocked by Mr. Limak in favor of Marshall Tree Service voluntary compliance. As a matter of courtesy to Mr. Limak, we let him do that, let him try. And we actually had about 3 weeks of peace and quiet in our neighborhood. It was heavenly. But then a policeman, not a code officer, a policeman came by and said he can do and he can say whatever he wants. I'm going to quote exactly what he said verbatim. Davie does not have laws. I said, well, we have laws. Davie does not have laws. This policeman, who is on our payroll and getting paid to enforce our laws that he said we don't have. Now, immediately, next day, trucks started rolling right in, never stopped. That man single-handedly undermined what Mr. Limak had achieved. Single-handedly undermined it. I'm asking you. In fact, I'm pleading with you to help us. Help our neighborhood to survive. Do not stay silent. We are at the end of our rope with the town of Davie. 5 years going through every step, every person, every department that we could. But the buck stops here. You are the lawmakers. You are the government. Please, you hire these people, and you can hold them accountable for what they do or don't do. Please don't stay silent. Make them accountable for what they're doing or not doing. The answer is right in front of you, especially the road. I want to say something at the end. This whole thing violates our basic right as homeowners, our basic right of quiet enjoyment of our homes. At the end, I want to quote Dr. King, who said, in the end, we will remember not the word of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Please don't stay silent. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? If the people that are going to speak will come out and stand in the center aisle, it'll save us some time so that we can move.
My name is Joan Meek. I live at 14030 Southwest 21st Street. I am a neighbor cat-a-corner to this property where all this noise is going on, and it's horrible. It's like living behind a Home Depot or a Publix. You have no idea. They have heavy equipment there with claws and trucks backing up, beep, 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 and men out there shouting, yelling, cursing. It's not right. We live in a beautiful neighborhood with expensive homes on acreage properties, and this one person is just ruining it. The quiet is gone. I don't even know what else can be done, because we have been here before. We were there when the magistrate gave his order that they had to cease and desist. They were good for a while. They started up again. You call code enforcement, they do nothing. They say they can't do anything. They can't see. There's a screen of trees that they planted around their property. You can hear it. You can certainly hear it. And my neighbor, Michael, that just spoke, has video after video after video because he was on a higher deck that he could see this going on. Why isn't something being done? I don't understand it. We pay taxes. They're not cheap. We just want to live in peace. That's it. I know you have to, if it was beside your house, you would hate it. It's just terrible. That's it. I'll give up the rest of my time.
Thank you. Who's next?
My name is Ella Morell. I live at 14050 Southwest 21st Street. I'm probably, of the neighbors that are here, the one that lives the farthest away from the lot that we're speaking about. And it's been a situation, as you've heard already, for 5 years with Marshall Tree Service. Everything has been done according to what we know. We've tried to go up the ladder. We've tried speaking to them personally. They've had dinners at one of the neighbors' house trying to be neighborly. This keeps being rejected. And every time that huge equipment starts up, I'm sure they're hearing dollar signs. I'm hearing illegal activity, and it's frustrating. And again, we had the decree by the magistrate, and we walked out feeling, okay, we've gone through the legitimate channels, and then somehow the city, and I do understand this, Mr. Lamack, we were told that they need documentation. Okay, how do we get the documentation? And I think I even asked that question to you when we were there. So we're so stumped right now, and I've lived there 31 years in my house. I was a kid. No, I'm just kidding. But it needs to be addressed. Personalities are getting involved in this, and over 5 years, you can imagine, it's not in a good, healthy way. And our neighborhood is so beautiful. Oak Hill is a treasure to Davie, I believe. And so that's all I have to say, other than we would like to see some action finally, or tell us they're okay to do it. If you tell me they're okay to do it, I'm done. But I'm going to keep continuing. I'm not going to move, and I'm going to just keep doing whatever you tell me to do to try and get this resolved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a say one thing
No, you gave up your time.
about her last,
She's finished.
by the way, he doesn't even live there.
Are you-
If he does, that property isn't.
May I have the next row who would like to come up and speak? No one else wants to speak? Well, come on, let's go. You gotta be fast.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Cynthia Charney, and I live at 3100 West Rolling Hills Circle. And I'm here for a very gracious thing, and maybe it'll make you smile. I'm here to thank all the council in the town of Davie for installing a speed hump on West Rolling Hills Circle. You responded to the needs of safety for our neighborhood, and for that I'm grateful. And you need to know why it was important. The people on University Drive use our West Rolling Hills Circle as a cut-through. and they're going 40 to 50, 55 miles an hour. They disregard the posted speed limit of 25 miles per hour. Those who are walking on the sidewalks, and I'm a dog walker, so I'm out there all the time, you can actually feel the percussion from the speed of the cars passing by. And I'd like to thank the people who were involved with this project. And I persisted, and they persisted with me. And so we finally got it done last Tuesday. And Chief Kinsey was involved, and Sergeant Castaneda. And I came to the meeting on April 19th. And Carol, you introduced me to the engineer, Jonathan Vogt, and I spoke with him, and he said the department was committed to helping us do a traffic study, and he introduced me, or the next day, I called and spoke to, I can't pronounce it very well, Abedimi Ajayi, known as AJ. Yes. And AJ took the project over and brought it to fruition. So now we have the speed limit. And I'm very happy that it's there, as well as the other residents. And I think it's slowing down traffic a bit. The first day the speed bump was there, I was walking the dog, and of course they disregard all, so the signs are posted on either side of the speed bump, but cars were going over so fast they were landing on their front bumpers. So it was really a necessary item. And I'm going to be cautiously optimistic that this is going to work. But the true test is going to be when Nova Southeastern resumes fall classes, and the public schools open again. And if we need help, I know I can come back to the council and to the chief and to the town engineers, and I know they will be very helpful. I couldn't ask for a better team to get the job done. So I thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Step right up. Name and address. Why don't you just stay up there and then...
Joseph Basil, I'm a new resident in Park City. I'm proud to be a new resident of Town of Davie. Thank you, Mayor, for inviting
Hi,
me.
nice to meet you.
So just thinking of a few things. Park City, great place. If Town of Davie can do anything about the vacant manufactured homes that get grown over to keep the neighborhood clear and clean, as well as neighbors with maybe hoarders and things that they accumulate, it would make our neighborhood that much better. I'm starting off with that, if it's possible. I understand 7-Eleven there on Pine Island and 84, I've seen myself homeless people. I have empathy and everything, but again, I heard some things about that. Maybe we can appropriate those people in better places than to be living and hanging out at that 7-Eleven. What else?
I think you wanted to get an application from the clerk to volunteer to...
Yes, I'd be glad to do that. Very versatile. I'd be glad to pitch in my part. I think the town is great, just in the few minutes I've been here and since I parked. And there is another concern. So, the golf course. I understand there was something that may have happened. I heard it was an incident of the driving range. I'd like to do that more than even play a round of golf. If anything can be done about getting the driving range back up and running, that would be great. I'll leave it at that. Thank you, everyone. And if there's anything I can ever do for anyone, have a good evening.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. Eddie Hansen, 5870 Southwest 39th Court, Davie, Florida. And I don't need to zip. But yeah, I've been a neighbor for quite a while. I guess if you remember Johnny's, that's how we figure out how long you've been around. My biggest concern, 3 years ago, we had come in and they were doing the project, CRA did the septic tanks to the sewer lines. From what I understand, the money ran out. Some of the neighbors a while back we were talking about it, and it came back that, well, they're going to redo that. So I started looking in and calling people, and my understanding is it's a zip. The money's gone. There's no intent right now to do that project. to finish the zones that weren't corrected. It's up to, the town. It's not going to affect me. I'm 73 years old. The kids, my kids, the grandkids, and down the line, all that water is going into those lakes, into the water system, all the sewer systems. You can believe in climate change or not, these last couple of rains that we've had, I saw the septic tank truck in that area more times than probably in a year. So it's happening. That water's overflowing. Those pollutants are going into the water system. If we do nothing, you'll be gone, I'll be gone. But it's the people that are coming behind us that we have to start taking care of. There's thousands of homes back there, units, that need to be taken care of. Thank you. Oh, it's minute 30. I can put the other one in. I know we're going to a 4-day work week, and if somebody, code enforcement or somebody could drive on those longer days, it seems like we're getting more and more work trucks being parked in that area, that whole development in the evening. And I know what the code is, they don't, but we haven't, enforced it, I guess, enough to where they're moving them out. Everything from lawn trucks to window washing, so you'll see them, they're labeled. And again, if the sewer system gonna go in, great. I know the new buildings are all getting sewer lines, but there's hundreds and hundreds of people back there that need to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion of the meeting. It was very active this evening. I'd like to go on to our presentations. The star of the show tonight is our very own Broward County property appraiser, Marty Keir.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yes, always.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. And, first I want to thank you all so much for having me today. As you know, Broward County has 31 cities, and I love all of them. But I can unequivocally say that whenever I come here, I feel like I'm coming home, because Davie will always be my home no matter where I live. It is, I think, the best place to live by far in this country. Please don't tell the other 31 cities I said that. But I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody up here. And I promise I won't take a lot of your time. I know you'll have a very big agenda. But I want to just talk about a few things. I have very positive news I get to bring to y'all. I was first hoping to talk just how our office can help the people of the town of Davie. I then wanted to talk about property values, and as you'll see, property values are skyrocketing just like everywhere else. As a matter of fact, I was looking, I'll talk about in just a few, the sale prices in the town of Davie are on another level right now, which is pretty amazing to me, the amount of money that people are paying for properties. And then I was just hoping to briefly talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. I talk about it all the time, but the best way to help people protect their property is signing up through Owner Alert, and I wanted to talk about what we're doing to hold criminals accountable and to put them in jail for stealing people's properties. But first, before I do that as well, Madam Mayor, again, I want to thank you and the council for the excellent service you all provide, and I want to thank your staff as well. You know, Rick is a truly tremendous guy. I have to tell you, every single Friday, every single week, the cities send us over their permits that people have pulled and others, so we can make sure we get all the value on the tax roll possible. And there is no city or town, I guess you can say, that is easier to work with than the town of Davie. I just really appreciate the great work that Rick and all of your staff does. With that said, there are a number of ways that our office can help the people of the town of Davie. First and foremost, as you know, Broward County is a big place. More people live here than 13 states, the District of Columbia, and all U.S. territories except Puerto Rico. And when you move here, the most important thing you want to do is file for a homestead exemption. And that is what I always tell everybody. Property values every single year go up because people pay a lot of money in their property. And if you file for a homestead exemption, the value you're taxed on is capped at 3%. So if there's anybody in the town of Davie that has not filed for a homestead exemption this year, please do so, because it'll make sure the value you're taxed on is capped at 3% and it won't skyrocket with your market value. Also, once you get that exemption, there are many other exemptions. Seniors are entitled to exemptions. Widows are entitled to exemptions. People who are visually impaired and with disabilities can get exemptions. They can save a lot of money in their taxes. And so I always tell everybody, if anybody out there is watching and hasn't filed for any of these exemptions, contact me by September 18th of this year, so we'll make sure those exemptions are reflected in your tax bill, so you'll only pay your fair share of property taxes and you won't pay too much. The other thing I wanted to quickly talk about is just property values. You know, the amount of taxes that people pay is based on the value of their property. And as I said before, property values in the town of Davie are skyrocketing. And next month, every single person in the town of Davie is going to get a notice from me in the mail. It's the TRIM notice, the Truth and Millage notice. It's not a tax bill. It's basically a document so people can make sure they don't overly pay in their property taxes. And it's going to show a lot of the things, for example, all the exemptions that you have that I just spoke about. But it's also going to show the value of the property that people are paying taxes on. And if anybody in the town of Davie is concerned when they get that notice about the value of their property, give me a call. Let's go through it together. If I can bring it down, I always will. And just to give you a quick example, the way we determine the value of all property is based on a mass appraisal method. Basically, we look at your property, we look at all the properties that sold the year before, we adjust your property to fit those properties to determine a value. We don't know what the inside of the properties look like, or the bathroom looks like, or the kitchen looks like. We just know some information about your property to find a value. So people will get the TRIM notice next month. They'll call me and they'll say, Marty, I understand why you valued my property this way because all these other properties sold that were similar to mine, but mine's actually different. It's dilapidated. It has water damage. There's something that makes it less valuable than those other properties. And I'll say, well, show me what you got. And if it's information that we can use to bring down the market value of the property, which could bring down the assessed value, which bring down their property taxes, we always will. So please, everybody in Davie, keep a lookout for that notice that's coming out next month. It's so, so very important. The other thing, Madam Mayor, that I wanted to quickly talk about before I just talked about what we're doing to crack down on fraud is where property values are right now in the town of Davie. And they're very interesting, the numbers that are here. To give you an idea, in 2022, last year, if you took all the commercial and residential property and you sold it on the open market, you would have got right about $19.189 billion. That's a pretty significant number. But fast forward just 1 year, that number has increased by 17% in market value to right about $22.45 billion. That is a significant increase in market value because people are paying a lot of money for both residential and commercial properties. Now, the taxable value is the value that you're actually looking at right now that you're going to set your millage rate on to determine the amount of money that you're going to get to provide great services to the people of the town of Davie. And last year, the taxable value was right about $12.413 billion. Fast forward to this year, the taxable value is right about $13.77 billion. That's a 10.96% increase in taxable value. So what that really means, if you determine that you want to keep your millage rate the same, and I believe your operating millage rate was right about 5.6250, the additional revenue that you'll get this year over last year will be right about $7.361 million more this year than last year. And what's very, very important to note about that is the majority of that revenue is not being paid for by the average homeowner here in the town of Davie, because the average homeowner in the town of Davie is a homesteaded property owner. So the value that they're taxed on is capped at 3%. The majority of that increase in revenue is being paid for by a significant amount of new construction and also new people moving into the town of Davie and paying top dollar for properties. And to give you an idea, this year, the town of Davie had about $205.6 million of new construction placed on the tax roll. That is a significant amount of new construction, the largest being a $62 million value that was 2 warehouse buildings that were put on the tax roll, and the second highest was a $22 million parking garage. That's a lot of new construction, and that is where a lot of the new revenue is being generated from. Right now, you have about 20,723 homestead exemptions here in the town of Davie. You have 911 seniors who struggle every day to make ends meet who receive an exemption. Something I like to bring up every year because I'm very proud of the town of Davie is you actually have 183 long-term seniors who pay no property taxes to the town of Davie or the Broward County Commission. And let me tell you why that's so very, very important. To qualify for the long-term senior exemption is pretty difficult. You have to be over 65 years of age. You had to have made under last year right about $35,000. You had to have lived in your home for 25 years or more, and the value of your home at the time of your application had to be under $250,000. So not a lot of people qualify, and not a lot of cities have adopted it. Only about half our cities. But the cities that have adopted it, like the town of Davie, had the foresight to understand that these seniors who qualify for this really struggle to make ends meet. And the loss of revenue to you all because so few people qualify is a drop in the bucket. But to those seniors who are struggling, that's a lot of money they can put back in their pocket where they can have a better life. I hope that every single city in Broward County follows your lead because it was the right thing to do and something I'm just so proud of the fact that you all spearheaded that and did that for those residents that are so vulnerable. You also have 1,500 widows who are entitled to an exemption, something that's very, very interesting. For the first time since 1969, the widow's exemption has been increased. So last year it saved a widow about $9. This year it'll save them about $100, which I think is a great thing. Our representative, Michael Gottlieb, was the one who actually passed that in the legislature to increase that. You have 158 totally permanently disabled veterans who are American heroes that pay no property taxes. And you also have 4 first responders who are totally permanently disabled that pay no property taxes as well. To give you an idea, the average sale price for a single-family home in the town of Davie is right about $941,703. That is a significant number for the average sale price. The median is actually not that far off, so that's a big number. But to give you an idea, even though the average home is selling for $941,000, the average taxable value of a home is $289,000. And here's what that means. It really means that you have a lot of people that have lived here for a very, very long time, and they love the town of Davie so much that they don't want to move. They've been homesteaded, so they've been capped. So even though their market value is very high, their taxable value is capped and very, very low. And that, I think, is a very interesting bit of information. Also, the average sale price for a condominium parcel, for example, in Pine Island Ridge and others, is right about $264,995, and the average taxable value is about $134,640. And Madam Mayor, the last thing I wanted to quickly talk about before I answered any questions that y'all had, and as usual, if I'm talking too fast, I've had 5 cups of coffee, 2 Red Bulls, and a Diet Coke. I'm a little wired, and I'm feeling fantastic. But I wanted to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart, and that's cracking down on title fraud. And I talk about it all the time because it is so prevalent here in Florida. Unfortunately, and I say this all the time, South Florida is the title fraud capital of the world. It's the capital of the world because you have criminals, and that's what they are. They walk into the recording division for every single county, they file fake deeds on people's properties, and they take those deeds and they extort people for money or mortgage rent or sell the properties. They do it all the time. And the reason it's so easy for them is the recording division for every county has a ministerial duty. They have to accept whatever document is filed with them. So you have these criminals, they walk in, they file a fake deed, and they do something nefarious with it. So the first thing we wanted to do was give the people of Broward County the opportunity to fight the fraud before the fraud occurs, and so they can protect their property. And so about 2 years ago, we came up with a great program called Owner Alert. It's really a notification program that's free to the public that notifies somebody if a document changing title has been filed on their property. And here's the way anybody in the town of Davie could sign up. They can go to our website at bcpa.net, they type in their name, they type in their email address, and they type in their folio ID number, which they easily grab from our website. And if we have their email address on file, they're automatically verified. If we don't, they have to upload their Florida driver's license or Florida ID. If they don't have that, they have to upload a utility bill or something proving ownership. And then if any document, legitimate or not, is filed changing ownership of their property, they'll be notified instantaneously by email. We've had about 200,000 Broward County property owners sign up so far to get an email alert. And about 2 months ago, we actually instituted a text alert where people can get text messages, and as of today, we've had about 40,000 Broward County property owners sign up that way as well. And I wanted to thank the town of Davie, because the town of Davie, yourself, Madam Mayor, and the council and your staff has just been so helpful in getting the word out to the people of Davie about signing up for this great program. We've had a lot of people in Davie sign up, and a lot of people have their properties protected. And what happened about 2 years ago when I implemented this, I started getting phone calls from residents, and they would say, Marty, I got an alert from your office that somebody changed title on my property, but I didn't do it. And then I got more and more and more. And I realized how big of a deal it was. So I wanted to do something that was a little bit different and kind of out of the ordinary of property appraisers. I wanted to work with law enforcement and build criminal cases and put people in jail who steal people's properties. So I called the Department of Revenue. I said, this is what I want to do. And they looked at me and they said, Marty, you guys, determine the value of properties, you give exemptions, you're not law enforcement. We're a little worried about this, but we know it's a big deal. We'll let you be the guinea pig for the state of Florida. And I go, great. So the first thing I did was I went to see the state attorney, Harold Pryor, who's a great friend doing a great job, and I explained to him the situation. And he said, Marty, I understand the situation. Let's enter into an interlocal agreement, and I'm going to dedicate an assistant state attorney to work solely with your office to prosecute the people that are doing this. I then went and I saw Sheriff Tony, who's doing a great job and is also a great friend. And I explained to him the situation. And he goes, Marty, I understand what's going on. Let's also enter into an interlocal agreement, but I'm going to go even farther. I'm going to assign 2 sheriff's detectives to work solely with your office, to be housed within your office, to help you build these criminal cases. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department assigned somebody to us as well. And so right now, our CAP unit consists of our man in charge, who is Ron Cacciatore. At one point, he was the second in command of the sheriff's office. We have 4 non-sworn former law enforcement folks who have significant investigatory experience that are in there, 2 Broward Sheriff's deputies, a Fort Lauderdale Reserve detective, and I want to thank Chief Kinsey, Vivian, who is a Town of Davie Reserve detective, also works for our office as well. And over the past couple years, they've been very successful. So far, we've arrested about 17 people. We've convicted a number of people. We have a ton of open warrants and people that we're looking for that we're going to arrest. We've been able to recover millions of dollars of stolen property, and we've been able to stop the sale and of millions upon millions of dollars of other properties. And let me just give you 3 quick examples for the people of the town of Davie that just really show how smart these people are. 2 of them I've spoken about before, but I'm going to add a 3rd one in there, and I can talk about a lot. But these are 3 that are really interesting because each one is a little bit different, but it shows how smart the folks are. And here's the one common denominator that everybody should understand. The people that do this are so smart. If they did something legitimate, they would be very successful in life. Instead, they try to make their money by defrauding innocent people. And the first one I'd like to talk about is about 2 wives, a married couple. One of the wives worked for one of our hospital districts. The other wife worked in the real estate industry. The wife that worked in the hospital district would find out when people would pass on. She would then take their confidential information and give it to her wife in the real estate industry, who would find out if they had property in Broward County and if they had heirs here. If they had property and no heirs, they'd file fake deeds on the properties. They would sell the properties on Zillow, mortgage the properties. They profited the amount of likely millions of dollars. But fortunately, they were both found guilty, which I'm very proud of and something I'm very happy about. Even though they're a married couple, they're still spending their time in different prisons, which is a good thing, and that's where they should be. The second one I wanted to bring up because it actually involves the town of Davie and it involves your wonderful police force that you have here, because we could not have arrested this person without Davie, and I'll explain why. There was a man not from Broward County. He was actually from Miami-Dade County, and he was very smart. He came up with a very interesting but devious scheme. What he did was he found out that there was a man in Southwest Ranches that had a 5-acre parcel all free and clear. And what he did was he filed a fake corporation with Tallahassee. He then made the officer and director of the corporation the man in Southwest Ranches, who happened to be a senior and also bedridden. He then made a fake ID saying he was that man. He then walked into a mortgage company, I believe it was in the city of Sunrise, and said, you know what, I've fallen on some hard times, had some difficult life decisions when it comes to money. I'm not doing well, but I have this one thing, a 5-acre parcel in Southwest Ranches that's free and clear. Can I please have a $500,000 mortgage? And the mortgage company said, sure, we'll give it to you. So this is where they really should have realized that something was fishy. The closing for a 5-acre parcel in Southwest Ranches for a $500,000 took place at a Burger King in Hialeah. So they go to the Burger King in Hialeah, and you have the bad guy trying to get the money. You have the mortgage company not doing their due diligence, about to write this guy a check for $500,000, and you have the smartest person in the room, the notary. And the notary's looking at this and thinking, this is very bizarre. And so she took his thumbprint and she called our office. We then contacted the Town of Davie Police Department, because as you know, you all police Southwest Ranches, and the Town of Davie Police Department also contacted the U.S. Secret Service, because they handle a lot of the identity theft cases in America. Fortunately, the man was arrested. He's going to stand trial. Unfortunately, he was given the $500,000. We've recovered about $420,000 of it. He spent about $80,000. One other example that is something that happened very recently. Recently, there was a number of people that were arrested, and I believe all of them are going to be convicted, and more people are going to be arrested. And this one I think is very, very interesting, because they all apparently, from my understanding, met each other in jail. And when they were in jail, they came up with an interesting scheme about how to defraud other people, which shows you can get a pretty good education about how to defraud people in jail. And what they decided to do was use the court system to steal people's properties. So you had the ringleaders, and what they would do is they would file a lawsuit in circuit court, basically saying this senior or this bank or this person no longer wants the property. And then the return of service for the answer would go to this guy's buddy who was in a mobile home in Hillsborough County, and he would say, oh yeah, I represent that senior, I represent that person, I represent that bank. Yeah, they don't want the property anymore. Put in this other guy's name. And unfortunately, the courts were stamping it and gave them properties. They stole, I believe, so far we found about 17 to 20 properties. I think there are more as well. Fortunately, a number of them were arrested, are going to have their day in court. I think they're all going to be convicted. But that's another interesting scheme. But something else happened that we learned about that I really didn't think about before. What I've learned is when somebody steals a property, not only is the property owner the victim, but sometimes the community can be a victim as well. And in that situation, in one of those properties, they actually moved in a number of people into one of the stolen properties, and they were renting it to them. And some of the people they moved in had also been former convicted felons. And one of those individuals, right about 2 or 3 in the morning, this is what he was arrested for and alleged to have happened, walked out of the house to a neighbor's home. He tried all the doors of the neighbor's home until he found one apparently that was open. He walked in and was standing over the bed of the husband and the wife. Fortunately, the wife woke up, started screaming, and the dog chased him out. He was arrested, given an ankle monitor, let out, and he went right back to the stolen home. Recently, we were able to work with the Fort Lauderdale Police Department to clear the home. but that actually shows that more people than just the owner of the home can also be victimized. And also, I think it's important to note too, in that home there was about 9 or 10 people in there. And not only is the person that owns the home the victim, not only can the community be victimized, but the people that live there sometimes can be victims as well, because they live in such dire, terrible straits. In that situation, there was no running water, no utilities, no electricity. There was even a child in there. And so it's really a difficult situation. I wanted to bring all of this up because this is a big priority of mine, to make sure that people can protect their properties. And also I like to talk about this as well, because I want every single criminal out there to know that's thinking about doing this in Broward County, that they do it here. We're going to work very, very hard to make sure they serve a long time in prison. With that said, Madam Mayor, I can talk forever. I'm just so excited to see you and everybody here. Like I said, I absolutely love the town of Davie, and I'm exceptionally, exceptionally proud of what y'all do. And that's not just from me, that's from my dad and my sister, as you know, who are residents of Davie. But Madam Mayor, is there any questions I can answer? Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Oh, thank you so much, Carol. I appreciate everybody here, and I think I can speak for everybody in Davie, and I say this for everyone here. You know, I always say, I think my favorite thing to say about Mayor Paul is that, so Mayor Paul, you've been mayor since, is it 2004 now? 2009. And I always say that you're never allowed not to run for mayor. And if you ever decide that you're not running for mayor, I'm just going to walk over there and file your paperwork for you. So it's going to stay that way forever. But thank you so much, and thank you, Carol, and thank you, Marlon, and thank you, Michelle. It's just great to see everybody here. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.
We're always enthralled with Marty's presentations. Yes. Our next presentation is our police chief, Steve Kinsey, for the Town of Davie Police Department.
You holding it up for us? Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council, Administration, and staff. Steve Kinsey, Chief of Police. I have good news for you tonight. The Davie Police Department went through our formal assessment back in April 19th and the 21st. The assessment team completed an in-depth review of all aspects of the Davie Police Department: organizational, managerial, operational, and administrative compliance, and we had to meet 236 standards. These standards are a combination of federal and state laws, statutory guidelines, the state criminal justice standards, and training requirements. I'm very pleased to announce we received our second Excelsior recognition at the Commission for Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation Committee in June in Orlando. To earn this status, an agency must be reaccredited for 5 cycles, that'll be 15 years, free of noncompliance or conditional status concerns. The Excelsior recognition program is the highest level of achievement in Florida accreditation a criminal justice agency can receive. We are one of only 16 out of 205 agencies in the state of Florida that received their second in a row Excelsior status. This is what the assessment team reported to the Commission. The Davie Police Department was well prepared for the assessment, having exhibited a solid commitment to the accreditation process. Department members were found to be engaged in the accreditation process and driven to provide excellent, professional, fair, and dedicated service to the residents and visitors of the town of Davie and their community partners. So the reason that we got the Excelsior status is standing next to me. And you all know Miss Angela. So Angela leads our accreditation team within the police department. She gets us very well prepared. By the time the assessors get on site and on scene, they really don't have any questions. When I meet with them in the interview when they first get there, and then I meet with them at the end of the exit interview, they said, Chief, for one of the first times ever, we don't have anything bad to say. You don't have anything that you need to improve upon, which we know is not true because you always could prove, but it was nice of them to say that. Additionally, Miss Angela, also at this accreditation conference, was awarded Team Leader of the Year for the entire state of Florida.
Wow.
So I just want to say publicly thank you to Angela, thank you to the team. I don't get the credit for this. They get the credit for this. They do a fantastic job, and it's a big deal, that Excelsior status, so we will keep that for the 3 years, and we'll go back and get it for a third time. So thank you very much, unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Congratulations. You got to get your picture. We need that picture. That's an important one. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Oh, I'm not there yet. That's the consent agenda. I have to do the tabling and, or withdrawal or added portions first. Staff is requesting to table items 29 and 30 until August 16th. May I have a motion to do that?
Motion to table 29 and 30 till the 16th.
August 16th, yeah. And then a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Yeah.
That was an aye, not a no,
Was
right?
Susan.
That's unanimous. On 31, staff and the applicant are requesting to table item 31, the site plan from Our Lady of Victory, to September 6th. May I have a
Motion to table 21 till the 6th of August.
Is there a second? I'll
Second it.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. That's unanimous. Thank you.
Gee.
On the public hearing, item 34, the variance has been withdrawn. That does not need a vote as a withdrawal. Staff and applicant are requesting to table the following items to September 6th. I believe they're all the Lady of Victory, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. Do I have to do each one individually, Mr. Attorney?
You could do them together.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion on
Motion
that?
to table 35, 36, 37, 38 until September 6th.
And 39,
And 39.
I'm sorry, and 39. I thought I said that. I apologize.
to,
September 6th.
is there a second?
Second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Now we'll go on to the, what are we going to pull on the consent agenda? Excuse me. I'm going to pull 1, 2, 26, 27, and 28.
26,
Uh-huh,
27.
and 28.
And 28.
Yeah, those are the three for Ames. Does anybody else have anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus 1, 2, 26, 27, and 28?
Motion to approve consent agenda minus 1, 2, 26, 27, and 28.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. We'll go on to item number 1, which is proclamation of Parks and Recreation Month, and accepting it will be Jeff Pullman, the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Culture,
Do you need a motion?
and his staff. I got everybody here. All right.
Do you need a motion?
Get the homeless book
Do you need a
Go
motion?
ahead. Yeah, do I have a motion to
Yes,
approve?
motion to approve one.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Vice Mayor will read the proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of our community, and since 1985, people in the United States have celebrated Parks and Recreation Month in July to promote building strong, vibrant, and resilient communities through the powers of Parks and Recreation. And whereas Parks and Recreation professionals make a positive impact on the lives of our community members every single day, Parks and Recreation programs and services promote health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near or regularly visit parks. And whereas this year we celebrate the vital role Parks and Recreation professionals play in bringing people together, providing essential services, and fostering the growth of our communities. And whereas the town of Davie has over 1,800 acres of parks, over 130 miles of equestrian and recreation trails, and natural recreation areas, all contributing to the ecological beauty of our community. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourage physical activities by providing space for popular sports, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. and whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time, programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors, and whereas this year we celebrated Park and Recreation Professionals Day on July 21st, 2023, this is a day to celebrate all dedicated professionals who build strong, vibrant, and resilient communities through the power of Parks and Recreation. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and the Town Council of the Town of Davie do hereby proclaim the month of July 2023 as Parks and Recreation Month.
You're on.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council, Administration, staff, and members of the public. Jeff Pullman, Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Director. Thank you for the proclamation recognizing July as National Parks and Recreation Month, as well as the continued support of Parks, Recreation, and our Cultural Arts Department, and all programs, activities, and services that we provide for the Davie community. With me tonight, there's representation from each of our divisions, and as you know, our team works tirelessly to ensure that we provide the best programming, special events, sports, and recreational opportunities for our residents. Some of our team members here with me tonight truly are the heart and soul of our department, and I'd like to just do a quick staff introduction if I could. Unfortunately, Chad Pezzold, Assistant Director, was very sad to miss this, but he's recreating with his family on a vacation. So with me tonight, some of our Fitness and Aquatics Division members, Jeremy Garcia, Rashawn Williams, and Gina Gordon. From sports, Brian Bockham, Anthony Indoisi, and I think Sam Gullah may have had to go out to the fields. Park Ranger Division, Tom Gillespie. Recreation, Kevin Favada and Bernadette Basca. Special events, Simone James. And sorry, Bill, but from our administration team, Adriana Ramos. Again, thank you all for recognizing July as National Parks and Recreation Month. You have a dedicated team of professionals standing behind me, which I know that you know, but thank you as always for the continued support, and we appreciate all that you do for us. So
And you
thank
do
you.
a great job.
Thank you. You guys are great.
Okay, I'm number 2. We just need to vote to approve a revised edition of the minutes from March 1st. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve revised edition of minutes.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, where are we now? Go into our public hearing items. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything.
And 26.
Okay, yeah, now then we can start with 32.
Oh.
On our public hearings,
I thought we.
Mr. Weinthal, would you read the ordinance by title?
Yes, Mayor. An ordinance to the Town of Davie, Florida, creating Chapter 16, Article 8, Section 16-137, definitions, and amending Chapter 7, Article 5, Section 7-71, definitions, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much. Any questions or concern?
No.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve number 32, code amendment.
Second,
Seconded.
roll call, please.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes,
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Motion passes.
thank you. Number 33 is a code amendment, second reading. Mr. Weinthal, will you read the ordinance by title, please?
Yes, Mayor. An ordinance of the Town of Davie, Florida, amending the following sections of Chapter 12, Land Development Code, Section 12-33, General Regulations. Section 12-34, Standards for Specific Uses. Section 12-208, Requirements for Off-Street Parking. Section 12-503, Definitions. Section 12-541, In General. And Section 12-548, Flood-Resistant Development, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. This is a open public meeting. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this item, come forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any discussion? No. Okay, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve 33 code amendment.
I'll second that. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. 33. Okay. Number 34 is a variance. Mr. Weinthal has the, has his
Clause has
name.
been waived, yes, Mayor.
Would you please read it by title?
Oh, 34 is withdrawn, yes. 34 is
Oh, that was
withdrawn,
with-
apologize.
Withdrawn.
Which one? Oh,
34
oh,
withdrawn.
that's right. You're right. I'm using the wrong, what do you call it?
Paper.
I wrote it on the other one. I have two of them here I'm working off of. I'm sorry. That's, and 33 has been tabled, as well as everything else has been tabled. So we can.
So we have 26, 27, 28.
27 and 28, which is the Ames. I'm going to ask a brief presentation. Someone from the town, you want to do that? Or shall we have
I believe
the applicant do it?
I believe the applicant has a PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
Mayor, I apologize. We did not plan to do the PowerPoint tonight. I will give you a verbal, and I have the boards I can set up if you need me to. So basically, this is a project on Southwest 76th Avenue. Ames Power has purchased that property. We are in the process of putting a modest size, 34,000 square foot industrial building there for our basically owner occupied use. The only access we have is off Southwest 76th Avenue, and the staff report was fine, but we did have some extensive discussions with the mayor just regarding some additional improvements that we could provide on Southwest 76th. And I was going to just go through those, Mayor, unless you wanted to do that.
I'll do that, and
Okay.
then we can go from there. Is everyone, did you read your backup and you're aware of what this is? My concern had been probably this property should never have been rezoned commercial because of the road that it's on. But it has, and we've got to try to deal with it. My concern is that it's right across from Wolf Lake. You have horse traffic there, horse trailers coming in and out of Wolf Lake. And in some cases, because there'll be trucks, delivery trucks, and in some cases, what do they call them, 18-wheelers, on that narrow, two-lane country road, and it's really a life safety issue. So I came up with, and I must disclose that I have met and spoken with Mr. Laystrom several times, and we kind of agreed, and I'll reiterate them, and then you can indicate whether or not that's satisfactory. Within the site plan itself, there's going to be additional road work done 50 feet north and 100 feet south of the property. What we're looking for, and I think they've agreed to do, is trail improvements from the site, along the site on the west side, going north, and to continue that improvement to the entrance of Wolf Lake where the marked horse trail crossing is going to be placed. To be a horse trail crossing or pedestrian crossing. This is a sidewalk also over there at Wolf Lake with flashers. And I think now they do that with solar, so, yeah.
As we drove in.
Okay. Also, they're going to do caution warning signs at the entrance, saying that trucks are exiting, that the people coming know that there may be trucks exiting, and as well to have signage when they exit the property, the trucks, that that's a right turn only to Sterling Road. That was my big concern, because most of the traffic, if you go to the Griffin Road side, you'll see there's even a sign that says no through trucks. And most of the traffic, the trailers that come into the park, will most likely be coming from the south. So if we can move the truck traffic to Sterling Road, that would be an important concession to add to the safety. We're also looking for 2 speed tables, or one south of Wolf Lake and one north of Wolf Lake. Possibly, I don't know where, I know there's one north that's already there. I don't know exactly where it is, but nothing any further south than the north end of Wolf Lake, because we don't want the trailers having to navigate over a speed table and make a turn into the park at the same time. But what I'd like to do is kind of leave that up to the developers and the engineers to identify the best locations and work from there. Again, the trucks will enter and exit to Sterling Road. And then I've also asked, and this might be a little more difficult to enforce, but we've got to work on it, that the construction vehicles do the same thing, that all the construction vehicles come in from Sterling Road. Again, that's not it's a tough road. Not only is it narrow, but the sub-base is poor in most of the area. And the heavy construction trucks and the heavy delivery trucks up and down there will erode at the roadway. Also, I'd like to know how many days will you be open and what your hours of operation are?
Well, currently our plan is to be open on the weekdays. As we discussed, we don't know that we won't be doing work or business on the weekends, but that's not our primary focus. We're generally 8 to 7, 8 to 6, Monday through Friday.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, if by some chance you felt the need to go to, I love the idea then, because most of the traffic to the park too would be on Saturday and Sunday, so that would be a very important part.
I do want to make clear, I can't commit that we're not going to do business, but the vast majority of what we do is during the weekday.
And the other thing too was wherever you talked about the larger trucks, they expect maybe 2 a week, and those 2 also to come in and out from Sterling Road.
Sterling Road, and we'll certainly try to schedule those during the week.
Okay, very good. So I don't have to include that. Yeah, I was going to ask for deliveries to be just during the week, but you kind of, I'll include it anyway, so.
Well, hopefully for the most part, deliveries will be those 2 trucks.
Yeah, okay. Let me make sure I've covered everything. I think that this this is important, you know, for safety reasons. And my question is, and on the record, does your client agree to all of those? I saw him shaking his head
The
on
answer-
each one. and it
First
was-
off, Bill Laystrom on behalf of the applicant, just so it's for the record, and the answer is yes. We did spend some time talking about those things. We know the sensitivity to this area and especially to Wolf Lake, and we look forward to just being a good partner with the town of Davie. I would ask as part of the motion, just two things. One, to give the mayor and/or the administration a little bit of leeway. For instance, on the tables, there's one that's about maybe a tenth of a mile south of the entrance to Wolf Lake now, so you may or may not want that one. Maybe we'll do something in lieu of it, some kind of a traffic calming or something in
Okay.
the same price range. But I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have to come back here if we made an adjustment that both the town
Well,
and the
I
applicant agreed to.
included in here, when I talked about the speed tables, to leave it up to you and the engineer. Just, I was aware that there are some speed tables on the road already.
Okay.
But one or two more wouldn't hurt, but, you know, the fire department will have my head.
Some of those horse trailers do.
Yeah, well, they usually go quite slow anyway. They're carrying precious cargo. And I did want to ask that once that this was all done and included, that we could just go over it again and take a look at it and see exactly what you've planned before you move forward.
Well, my thought was to put together a little preliminary design plan. I'll circulate it through staff to the town council and certainly mayor to you to make sure that you're comfortable with how we've designed it.
Okay. Now, I've typed all of this out, and I think the description I had given, and I know Marlon and especially will recognize this, you think of it in terms of a F-350 with a 4-horse trailer with the wide mirrors and a 18-wheeler trying to use the road at the same time. So that was a really big concern of mine. I still think it's the wrong project in the wrong place, but I think you've done a lot to help alleviate some of the fears. I know I'm still going to get people that are going to say, how could you do this to us? Because they don't understand the intricacies of what goes on in the development world. But I appreciate that you're trying to help us in the best way that you can.
And if we had another way, we'd do it.
Well, it would have been nice if Wolf in the Woods gave you access to university.
Well, they actually have a secure area in the back of their facility for all of their work equipment, work trucks.
And I just don't understand how this got rezoned commercial on that particular road to start with. And I think, you know, sometimes we might need to look a little more carefully, since we're reviewing it, with our comprehensive plan and our the future land use on some of our properties. So that's another story for another day. Okay, any discussion? Yes.
Mayor, just, Councilmember Starkey would like to also disclose that she met with the applicant's attorney.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So Carol?
Yeah, since I live right over there on the other side of the highway. And my concern is everything's going to be a right turn out of the, right turn onto Sterling Road.
Right.
There's not going to be any left-hand turns. It's going to all count on the U-turn at University Drive. The way it is now, because when you go out of Target right now, the only thing you can do to go south, to go east, is to make a U-turn, and it's a craziness. I don't know why they didn't put another exit there.
Well, I figure if they're going to 595 or the Turnpike or 95, that right turn and then right onto University, and they've got access to 595.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
picturing in my mind what the traffic is going to be coming out of there, and so there will be no left-hand turns. So it's really a right in and a right out.
Right.
I'm sorry?
You can't turn
Correct.
You
And
can't turn
No, you
left.
can't, that's not, but you're not gonna be requesting any left-hand turn in the break of the road there.
No, no.
Okay, because
no.
that's not ours,
Okay.
that's, yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just asking.
No, no, we have.
All right,
no
thank
con-
you,
no-
because it's a crazy,
That's 2 more years onto the project.
it's crazy as it is.
we
Thank you.
understand- We heard everybody, and as I said, I think we've come up with a good compromise that'll do some good out there.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you want to add anything?
That was it for me.
All right. I guess
I've learned not
Oh, God.
to talk too much.
I have all of these things for you written out. And if someone wants to make the motion, I'll reread this all.
I'll make a motion
Well,
without
did
the
we
mayor
open to
reading
the
of everything
public?
she read.
What?
I'm sorry, never
Oh,
mind.
that's right. I forgot. Did I open this to a public hearing?
Yes.
I think I did.
And then
Okay,
you
I'm
closed
just
it.
making sure.
You opened it and you closed it.
And Mayor, just to confirm, each item, 26, 27, 28, will be voted on separately. For the
Yes.
list you went over, I would encourage that to be read with number
With the s-
28.
The site plan, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to take that first.
Okay.
Do you have to read it? Can we just say everything you
So,
read?
can,
You should read it.
Okay.
and
okay.
plus I'm going to give it to the clerk so she has it.
Right, but we should read it in again.
Okay.
Someone
right,
needs to make
so-
the motion, though.
So
Motion to
Carol
tw-
has made a
for
motion
28, yes.
To approve item 28.
Yes.
Okay.
to
That's what I
approve
did.
28 with
Yes.
the
That the mayor's
following
gonna-
additions. Did we have we had any staff? No staff thing? Okay.
No.
Trail improvements from the site on the west side going north to the entrance of Wolf Lake. A marked horse and pedestrian trail crossing at the entrance of Wolf Lake with solar flashers. Caution warning signs at the entrance or near the entrance saying that the trucks are exiting, as well as internal signage indicating right turn only to Sterling.
Correct.
Speed tables. I won't specify the number. I'll just say speed tables. North and south of Wolf Lake. Trucks to enter and exit south of the site to Sterling Road, as well as all construction vehicles. Limit tractor trailers, access. I forgot what I said. South only as well to Sterling Road, and on weekdays only. Okay.
If I can make a suggestion, Mayor, instead of the word speed tables, traffic calming devices to be approved
Okay.
by the town engineer.
All right, so we'll correct that, and I'll put here, traffic calming.
Devices to be approved by the town engineer.
Oh, I said to leave this up to the engineer, so I have that in there, okay. So I've replaced speed tables with traffic calming devices. Is everybody with me? Very good. Okay. Make sure I didn't forget anything. Okay. So we have a motion,
Ooh, roll call?
yeah, motion with the,
We don't have a second?
we
Who's
have
a
to have a
second?
second.
Oh, sorry. And one second.
Anybody got a second?
I'll second.
Are you okay?
Yeah,
You have any questions?
I knew she wanted to do it.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to cut her
you
off.
look like he was deep in thought, Marlon.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Hatton?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes, under protest.
Motion passes.
I want that in the record.
Thank you.
And I would also like to request that this entire piece be verbatim in the minutes, and I will not sign the site plan until all this has been included on it. Okay? Phew. Anything else?
I think we had two other
Two
items.
more?
Yes, 26 and
Two-
27.
Two delegation requests. Number 26, I have a motion. I'll second that.
No, we just
Yeah.
did 28. This is 26 now.
Yeah, we did 28 first. Roll call?
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Hatton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 27, also a delegation request. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve 27 delegation request.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I would really like to thank you and your staff for all the hard work on this one. I know it was
Yeah,
a
that was
challenge.
a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you
job,
for
Mayor.
working with us. We appreciate it. I can always, you're a gentleman, Mr. Laystrom. Thank you very much.
What do you have to?
Okay. That's it. Number, what are we up to, 41? No, 40.
40.
Florida League of Cities Annual Conference Voting Delegation. Now, this is an easy one. All those in favor of Susan, please,
Aye.
congratulations, Susan.
Congratulations, Susan. Feel better.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was there last week, so I know just how you feel.
Okay. 41,
Mayor, before we proceed, we need the two alternates. Do you want to keep them the same?
yeah. But that's going to the conference.
Yeah, we're not, unless you,
We have to provide two names,
Okay,
two additional
okay,
names.
Yeah. Who were the alternates?
me and Marlon. Marlon and
That's
I.
correct.
Marlon
Yes.
and you, okay. We agreed to that as well. Okay. 41 is the Planning and Zoning Board appointment.
We have one?
I had brought this name up some time ago, Mr. Nicholas Noto. I've had a couple of conversations with him. I know there was a concern. I like the idea that he's a land use attorney, but he is also a conservationist, and he's interested in open space. He's a member of the Flamingo Gardens, and I think that it might be interesting to have that on the board. So I would like to, I can't make the motion as the
I'll
chair,
make
but
a
I would
motion.
like someone to.
Motion to approve Nicholas Noto for the Planning and Zoning Board appointment.
And I will second that. And roll call?
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Do we have any other committee or board appointments?
I do.
Yes.
I would like to appoint Linda Brickman to the Agricultural Environmental Advisory Committee. Ms. Brickman was vetted and is ready to serve at the next committee meeting.
Fabulous. We need,
Do you need a motion?
it's another
Or is she
horse
gonna make the
person.
motion?
No, a personal appointment
sorry.
doesn't need
Okay.
approval.
Got it.
She just- Very good choice. Excellent, thank you. Item 43, solid waste and recyclable materials processing update. Are you going to give the update, or who's giving the update?
Mr. Holsey, I believe.
Holston, Mr. Holston.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. So as it indicates in the backup, the solid waste interlocal agreement that you approved in June has been approved by the necessary 75% of municipalities, as well as Broward County. So at this point, at the request of Broward County Commissioner Beam Fur, who's the chair of the Solid Waste Working Group, they're requesting the municipalities to appoint their representative to the governing board. That'll be represented from each municipality for that authority, as well as a staff representative for the technical advisory committee.
Well, Carol, you've been sitting on that. Can she be selected for that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
She can
would you like
continue
to-
to serve. We would bring back a resolution at the next council meeting confirming that appointment.
Okay. Would you like to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And how about the technical? Who is that?
I currently serve as a representative.
You what?
Philip.
I currently serve.
Oh, okay.
Philip.
Huh?
Keep Philip, ask Philip to serve, continue to serve.
Okay.
Will you continue to serve, Philip?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have to vote on that. We,
We'll bring back a resolution
back the
on
resolution. Okay.
August 16th.
okay, very good. Thank you. Okay. No new business. We got quite a schedule here for our next meetings. The second is a town council meeting. Don't forget that on the 3rd, we have the town council workshop on the Pine Island Road widening project. And of course, the 16th, the council meeting. And then September, we've got our first budget hearing. We've got the special assessments hearing, the second budget hearing. So we've got a pretty full September. Comments, I'm gonna start off. I had a bunch of stuff. I had a letter that Cynthia Attorney had sent me, but since she got up and spoke and made all those thanks, but I did promise her that the letter, copies of the letter would go out to each of the people identified in the letter where she thanked everybody for the help. So I'll give this to the clerk, and then she can take care of that. And I got a letter from one of our residents thanking the police department and telling us how wonderful and impressive the Davie Police Department's House Watch program is. At least twice that she's requested the service. And she gets texts from the officer, and they stop to check. And so she just wanted us to thank us for that. And I know I've used it too. And it's great. You come home and you find little cards
Vacation
around the
watch.
house. And at one point, I said, one of my contact got a phone call that one of my doors was open, and they proceeded over there to lock it. So I'll also give you this. I think it's addressed to Chief Kinsey anyway, so you must have a copy of it, right? Then the veterans breakfasts, I mean, they're packed. Everybody that has been showing up, I think the last time was about 75 people there. And they're really doing a great job. And there was a gentleman there who handed me some items, and I just want to turn these over to, Kevin's not here. He left. I'll give them over to Jeff. It's just some information about a Veterans Guardian VA claim consultant. If anybody has any problems with the VA department, there is a consulting firm that helps them. So I'm going to make sure that Mr. Pullman gets that, and they can hand those out at the Veterans Breakfast. Can we expect on the next agenda, or when can we expect? I understand the Public Art Committee has made some recommendations. Are you going to do that soon, or?
Mayor, it's up to you to provide the direction with
Okay, that's
council.
what I thought. I just want, yeah, so they've made some recommendations. They've selected artwork. They've selected the locations for them. They're really, I've been able to look at them. They're fabulous. So what I'd like you to do is to plan for the next meeting, perhaps, a presentation to council, and so that we can, a reso, so we can take action on it.
Right, we'll do the 16th. We don't have time to do the 2nd.
Okay, whenever.
Okay, thank you.
But it's very exciting. You're all going to love it.
Yeah, looks good.
And I was just going to say, how did you just plan, how did they plan on or select the boxes, the utility boxes? Was it just along major roads?
Jeff's going to come up and give you the details.
Oh, okay.
Good evening again. So at one of the previous committee meetings before we did the open call to artists, we provided the committee with a map of all the utility boxes throughout the town of Davie that were not currently wrapped, because the CRA had wrapped some previously. And the committee identified that those kind of major entry points and thoroughfares through Davie for the initial program as kind of a welcome into the town of Davie. So that's how the initial 18 were selected.
Well, it was interesting because there's a bunch of utility boxes out on 26th Street. They're ugly as heck. And I didn't even see them in a little red dot on the map when I was looking at it, so.
I'd have to go back and look. I believe there are some up there, but they may be on the opposite side of the road.
Were they chosen?
Huh?
Were they chosen?
No.
Oh, I was just curious.
I'm just saying, because eventually it would be nice to get
Yeah,
them all
right,
wrapped.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, and there are future projects in the Public Art Master Plan that identifies future years
Yeah.
to wrap additional boxes. The initial project was 18.
okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
I just would also like to remind everybody that if you want to vote by mail, you have to re-register. All the vote by mail registrations have been wiped off the books, and you got to start from scratch. I know this has been a sore point with a lot of people, that just another example of voter suppression, making it more difficult for people who are vulnerable, who are handicapped, who need to vote by mail, making it more difficult for them to get through the process. So, but just please, if you know anyone that needs help getting an update on their mail-in ballots, please assist them. It might be more difficult for them than they realize. We had a shred-a-thon and a medical drop-off last Saturday, and I got to tell you, in all that heat, Chad and Leona and a few people from, I think, Public Works were there. They did a great job, kept the traffic moving. It was, I appreciate, the police had a medical drop-off tent, and everybody seemed to be moving very quickly, and especially the fact that it was so hot out. And there's Leona picking up boxes and carrying boxes and dumping them. She's a real trooper. I also like to announce that one of the things that we voted tonight on the consent agenda was the reopening of the rodeo arena on Thursdays for open ride. At this particular time, Mr. Pullman is creating a list of the dates that it will be available. And right now, because the trail riders, South Florida Trail Riders, have the insurance, they're the ones that have access. But they do have a special program that for a lesser amount of money, you can join the club and then be able to access that riding. So this is kind of nice. It kind of offset the fact that we can't use Wolf Lake anymore. It's covered, it's got the fans. So it might be a nice, nice addition. Talking about that, we have the parks and trail maps that have come out. They've
Very nice.
arrived at your homes, I'm sure.
Very nice.
Take the time to take a look at them. There's some very cute horse pictures on it. Does anybody know when the groundbreaking is going to be for the district? They keep floating different dates. If we could find out when that, huh? They gave us a date, and then they took it back, and they gave us another date, so see if we can pinpoint them.
Yeah, we have an internal meeting with them, so we'll follow up.
Oh, okay, thank you. And also, if I could have a progress report on when we can expect the entrance arches on Davie
Oh,
Road.
that would be neat.
I would appreciate that. I think that's it for me. And you didn't turn the clock on, so I was able to take advantage. Councilmember Whitman? No, don't turn it on now for everybody else. It's not fair.
Good to be queen.
Councilmember Whitman?
Thank you, Mayor.
Next Tuesday, August 1st, is National Night Out. There are several events planned throughout the town, but I want to make special reference to refer to an event that I'm working on with staff to coordinate in District 1. As a way to continuously enhance the relationship between our public safety team and the community, I am extending an invitation to everyone to join us at Betty Booth Roberts Park at 6:30 p.m. next Tuesday, August 1st. We will have our community policing officers, mounted patrol unit, motorcycle unit, food, music, and other activities for everyone to participate in. I look forward to seeing everyone there. And as you know, we all have one of these that has all the other locations. Sending congratulations to our fire department on receiving the American Heart Association 2023 Mission Lifeline EMS Gold Recognition Award. The award recognizes public safety agencies nationwide for their excellent care in tending to people who are suffering from heart attacks and strokes, another notch on our fire rescue department's belt. I also want to thank our administrators, police chief, and code compliance official for coordinating a wonderful community cleanup event on July 8th. We had a lot of people attend the Orange Park event, and it was a great opportunity for our community services staff to share some resources with the community members. I won't call names because I don't want to leave anyone out. If you have had a hand in planning or working at this event, I want to thank you. Please send my regards to our external partners who really helped to ensure this went smoothly. And of course, I could not end my message without wishing all the July babies a happy birthday. That's all for me, Mayor.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Next Tuesday, August 1st, while we're celebrating the National Night Out, our staff here will be hosting a community meeting to discuss the Waterford Park Improvement Project. This meeting will take place at Ivanhoe Community Center starting at 7 p.m. I know there's been a lot of interest, a lot of people have inquired about that, so those that are interested, I hope you'll take this opportunity to show up and learn what's going to happen. I'd like to also talk about the commercial building owners should have started receiving information from the town's building division about the Broward Safety Inspection Program, formerly called the 40-50-year Safety Inspection Program. There are some new requirements for commercial buildings over 3,500 square feet. If you fall within that category and have received your notice already, please read it and follow the instructions to ensure you remain in compliance. For more information, don't hesitate to contact our building division at 954-797-2052. And I want to thank our team for their continuous efforts every year working on the budget and all our special events and initiatives our wonderful team does year-round. And I wanted to mention up on this safety issue here on the commercial buildings. This came about from that building that had collapsed in Surfside. So these are new rules that are being applied. That's why we're seeing these come up now. Mayor, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Hatton?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have too much. Something happened today that I want to remind everybody, all our employees, everybody listening, everybody who's here, about locking their car. Even if you are at home, inside your house, and your car is right outside in your carport, be sure you lock it. Today, as I was leaving from my meeting, a neighbor came over and told me that someone had been foraging in my car. He took a picture. Chief was kind enough to get someone to come and take but I got a knock on the door thinking it was the pool guy or whatever, and he said, I'm your neighbor across the street. This guy was rummaging through your car. Now, I usually lock my car when I go home, and it's locked, and that's what happens when I go in. But from now on, I found out that I may be able to get my car fixed, so if it's empty for 5 minutes or, I'm out of it, it locks. So I'm going to try and get that done so it automatically locks. So I just want you to remind me, I didn't have anything taken. There wasn't a lot for them to take. I don't leave anything in my car. But they would do, the person was doing it, and we did get a picture of them, and we're going to keep an eye out for them. So be careful. You don't want anything. If you leave something in your car, you're just running into your house for 15, 20 minutes between appointments, be sure to lock your car. That was just my public service announcement for safety today. My second announcement is the Davie Women's Club is having a wonderful murder mystery on Friday, starting at 6 o'clock. If you want to come and be entertained and have dinner and be, so partake in this murder mystery in the garden. So please come and enjoy. There'll be wine and dinner. So please come and enjoy and help us with our building fund. We had some air conditioning problems. We're raising money to fix the air conditioning. So if you have nothing to do or you're doing something special, come on out. It's right down where the old Davie, the old town hall was, the Davie Women's Club. It starts at 6 o'clock. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Carol, Susan, I'll call on you, but
Yeah,
I don't think you are going to be able to speak, are you?
No, Mayor.
Okay. You feel better, please. Take care of yourself. Okay, Mr. Lemack.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things. The first thing I'd like to do is just remind everybody about the 4-day work week that will start on August 3rd, 2023, and Town Hall will be closed on Fridays starting August 4th, 2023. The next item I'd like to just announce, it's my pleasure to inform and congratulate our town clerk, Evelyn Roig, for being appointed to the Florida Association of City Clerks, or FACC, Legislative Committee. This legislative committee is responsible for monitoring the Florida legislature and informing the board of directors and FACC membership of pending legislation. The committee also introduces legislation to the state legislature, promotes, sponsors, and provides comments on proposed legislation with the approval of FACC's board of directors. So congratulations again. Thank you, Evelyn. And my last thing I have is I'm going to direct your attention to the screen. This year, the town's event, don't put it up just yet, don't change anything yet, but this year's event, talking about July 4th of 2023. And Councilmember Starkey, I know you can't see the screen, you're on the phone, but I'll have a copy of the presentation sent to you. But this year's event was again resident only with pre-registration, and it was open 1 month prior to the event. Like previous years, we did not turn any Davie resident away at the gate with a valid ID who did not pre-register. I want to just say much appreciation to the planning and coordination that was done by the special events staff of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts, the police department, fire, public works, all the administrative personnel who came out to assist and actively participate. So I want to share some data with you. So now if you could look at the screen, I'd like to share this information I thought you might find of value. The first is on the attendees. And you'll see that we had pre-registered 1,060 folks. That's only one registration per family was required. We had 1,094 vehicles. Walk-in attendance was 1,500. And our event estimate total was 7,000 for this event. If you looked at this by district on the next slide, you'll see I've broken down by district the number and the percentage of folks that attended. So you'll see where each one of those came from. And this District 3 was the largest turnout at 35%, followed closely by District 2 at 34%. And then you had District 1 and District 4 following.
Probably because District 4 was all blowing up their own stuff.
And then the pre-registration by zip code, another interesting event. I won't read these, but you could see those that they spread out. The highest one was the 33328, followed by 33314, and then the next closest was 33324. And the rest you could see there by zip code. And I just wanted to provide that recap, just to tell you it was another successful event, and we had no incidents reported, and I thought you'd find that of value. I know that we were all there to see it, the gathering. And that's all I have for this evening.
Very nice, thank you. Mr. Weinthal?
I have nothing, Mayor.
That's just bad. There are no objections? We're adjourned.